So there's a bunch of places we could start, but I'll try to sum up my article from July, which I'm sure you'll love, and we can go from there. So I wrote a piece in July. For those who haven't read it, probably many of you.
Is this normal that we're this close together like this? Feels awfully close. I'm okay with it.
I don't know. Cool. You could like, okay.
No, I'm okay.
I think they're nailed down or something.
Okay.
You could just tilt that way a little bit. Basically wrote a piece about some of the challenges and tensions inside of Walmart as you have a leader from an e-commerce background investing heavily, losing money on a bunch of different forays into different initiatives, with a very profitable giant store business and a leader of that company, of that part of the company named Greg, who, and sort of just tensions and how you try to figure out how best to compete with Amazon in e-commerce specifically. So I guess my first question is, have you been surprised by sort of this tension 3 years in as you try to chart a new course for this company, but you have a very successful institution on the physical retail side that maybe doesn't understand some of the bets and some of the bleeding money going on some of these initiatives?
Yeah, I think it's perfectly understandable. If you're Greg or leading the store business, it is a very profitable business. It's hard work. Greg's a great operator, and they're generating a lot of cash. And over on the e-commerce side, we're investing in it. We're losing money and taking a bet on the future. And a lot of times those, don't mesh as seamlessly as you might hope it would. So I'm not surprised by it. I understand, the frustration and the tension. I think working with Greg, I've learned a ton, and I have much more appreciation for the store business, and I think there's a real future with brick and mortar stores, specifically for Walmart. And I really appreciate the diversity of thought too. I mean, we definitely come out each of these problems from a completely different standpoint. One as an operator, one as I would probably put myself in the innovator sort of bucket, thinking further out. And that's how you get to the right answer. If you had everyone thinking the same way, you're not going to. So that tension, I would argue, is actually good, and it's not unhealthy in any way. I mean, we're aligned on the strategy going forward, Doug, Greg, and me, and feel really good about how things are unfolding.
For a while, I thought I knew the strategy, and then reporting that article, as part of that reporting, putting a hold on some M&A of digital brands, which seemed like a key part of your strategy. So how has your strategy changed in the 3 years that you've been at Walmart?
Yeah, I always talked early on about we were kind of focused on three things simultaneously. One is just to nail the fundamentals and get the very basics of the site, assortment, ship speed, and things that we know we have a gap to some of the other competitors there. So focusing on that is really important. I think we've made great progress. I mean, we just now are 75% of the country with overnight free delivery. When I came 3 years ago, we were more like 5-day delivery. So I think we've pushed on speed. We've got a lot more assortment, but that's not going to be how we win. And so the other part of the strategy is really thinking about how we play offense and leverage our unique assets in a way that only Walmart can. And that's an area where we've really been focused a tremendous amount of time and effort on. And that's really leveraging the 4,700 stores to deliver same-day, fresh, frozen, consumables, and then everything else in a supercenter. We're within 10 miles of 90% of the US population. So we've got amazing prices on fresh and frozen, and if we can deliver that same day to your door with no fees, we're testing a $98 annual membership fee in 5 different places, and that's doing really well. Pay $98 and you get free same-day delivery of groceries at Walmart prices. So I think that's a huge opportunity.
That's grocery, that's strictly grocery?
Grocery and consumables and some light GM. We're going to be expanding it to really have everything in the supercenter delivered same day under the same membership. I think if we could do that and execute it really well, like we've done with pickup, I think that would be a reason to use Walmart. And then that bridges us into sort of next day assortment, and then the idea is to get to parity in the long tail. Third part of the strategy is really about innovating for the future, and that's all the stuff that we talked about. It's jet black, conversational commerce, augmented reality, virtual reality, delivery directly into the refrigerator, digitally native vertical brands that probably put in that bucket as well. So there's like 3 separate buckets. It depends on.
So there's a lot to unpack here, including crazy beeping noise in the back, which hopefully will get sorted out. Okay, got it. Thank you. No, maybe. Great. All right, is this like secret Walmart strategy right now? Like,
Yeah.
I see some of your people in the back and they look responsible. So there's a couple of pieces to go out there. So one is, you're talking about $98, was that same day?
Same-day delivery, yeah.
Same-day delivery. Where'd that $98 number come from?
No delivery fee.
Okay. No, I'm curious.
Where'd it come from?
Yeah, there was Prime that was $99 for a bunch of years, and I see 98 and
I think being under $100 is a pretty compelling to get free same day, especially fresh and frozen. So it's a very different offering. Anywhere you see fresh and frozen being delivered for free at those prices, you're going to pay a lot more than $98. It's a very, I think, compelling offer.
And this is a test that you fully expect to be a broad offering, or what it?
Yeah, we're going to be rolling it out. Yeah, we've got right now about 1,100 stores doing delivery. It'll be 1,400 by the end of the year, and we'll just continue to ramp that up. So.
Can you make money on that business?
On same-day delivery?
Yeah.
Well, we can do it at a lower cost than anyone else, just given the fact that we've got the inventory already forward deployed, which is a really expensive part. The stores are basically operating like warehouses, but they're already profitable. So the marginal cost to pick something for delivery is really, no one can match that. So we have a lower cost to serve. Doesn't mean we'll make money on the head of the assortment,
Yeah.
but in e-com you don't make money on the head of the assortment. But if you lose less on the head than your competitor, then you're in great shape, and that's what we'll be able to do. But all the money is made on the long tail, whether it be first party, third party, fulfillment services, or advertising. That's where the money's made.
Got it.
But you need the relationship, right?
So you need willing to lose money up front.
Yep.
Get a customer more reliant on Walmart than they
Every
previously
week.
have.
Yep.
And then on the general, and then you'll make money on general merchandise, or
Yeah, long tail general merchandise that's first party,
Yeah.
third party,
Yep.
fulfillment services, and advertising. Those are the main primary areas of monetization, which we do today. We just don't have that core engine. We don't have a reason necessarily to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna use Walmart.com.
How long of a timeline is this, right? Because
It's happening now.
No, I guess my question is, for a long time I've been wondering, does Walmart in e-commerce try to take people out of Amazon Prime? Seems like a tough thing to do. Or does they go at customers who are not Prime customers? Okay, maybe, but then you're adding a $98 a year membership, which seems like if someone wanted to pay an annual fee by now, they probably would be an Amazon customer.
The thing about it, I would really focus on fresh and frozen specifically, because that's at Walmart prices on fresh and frozen, you save a ton of money being delivered. Walmart only has like a 13% share of fresh and frozen in the US. So most people, 87% of people, are shopping and paying a lot more for their groceries. Why do they buy it there instead of Walmart? Well, it's their local supermarket. It's close to them. That's typically the reason. But if I can deliver it to your door same day, and you're spending on groceries, the average household will spend, call it $4,000 a year in groceries. You don't need to save very much money to cover the $98, right?
So this is
Think about it, you save 10% on $4,000, you save $400 a year on fresh and frozen, you pay $98 for the membership. So just strictly
Can you explain that in one ad money to a customer?
No, I think it's something it's going to go. I think it'll go viral, word of mouth. It's well known that Walmart has amazing prices. It's just not always convenient to drive across town or drive 10 miles to your Walmart to get it. But if we deliver it to your door,
One thing I had reported that, or the company has said publicly that losses on e-commerce will step up this year from the prior year. Like, how long is your runway on where you can have that be the trend.
Yeah.
And
well, here's the
be
thing.
in your position.
There's a healthy way to do it and an unhealthy way. We're doing it in a very healthy way. That is, we track 3 components of the P&L. There's contributed profit margin, which is basically profit after all variable expenses. Take out fulfillment, take out shipping and product costs, customer care, variable profit. There's marketing, and then there's fixed infrastructure, just hard fixed costs. Typically, technology is a big part of that. Our contributed profit margins are growing really nicely year over year. It's healthy. We're mixing out, we're selling higher margin stuff, our logistics costs are coming down. That feels really good. Now we can take that profit and we can do one or two things. We can invest it in marketing to grow top line growth. We grew 40% last year, 37% the last 2 quarters. So we could put some money in marketing. We could also decide to invest some in fixed, in technology, and get ahead of things like building something like Walmart fulfillment services, things like that that we know will pay dividends in the future. So we've gotten really aggressive because the contributed profit margins are looking so good. We've gotten really aggressive on investing in both marketing and fixed infrastructure. At some point, if we're not getting the growth or just start to run out of things to invest in that make sense, which we're starting to get to that point now. I think we've made tremendous investments. Then as the contributed profit margins continue to expand, then you'll see the losses start to come down.
One thing I know you've been pushing internally for at times is aggressive expansion of fulfillment network of warehouses. And I know at times there's been pushback and not as aggressive maybe as you would like on that front. I think Amazon has north of 100 fulfillment centers, big ones just in the US. You all have somewhere, I think 20 or fewer. Seems like on one side it seems impossible to catch them from that perspective. On the other side, selling out of your stores, you're limited on how much inventory you have, right? A couple 100,000 products.
Yep.
So you can't match the long tail, and you can't match the speed from warehouses because you don't have enough. So like, help me, how does this work?
Well, the speed from warehouses, people think the more warehouses you have means the faster things are gonna be. That's not necessarily the case. From 7 warehouses we have now, we reach 75% of the country overnight with a 3 p.m. cutoff. The reason why Amazon has so many warehouses is because you actually physically run out of space in a warehouse as you get more volume. So a warehouse can handle $1 billion, let's say, out of it, as in round numbers. Amazon's doing 200 billion. That's 200 warehouses. Like, it's that math, right? And so it's not necessarily efficient. Every time you add a new warehouse, you have to make a decision. Do I replicate the SKUs in this warehouse, or do I put completely unique SKUs in there? And they've made the strategic choice that they're going to put unique SKUs in the warehouses, and they'll replicate some stuff, but a lot of it will be unique, and they'll transship the stuff from these places to a place and then out, and that's the decision they've made. We've taken a little bit of a different approach in that.
Because you've had to.
Yeah, or just it's very expensive to do that, and that gets them speed in the long tail, so they could offer 10 million products overnight, and that's very expensive. And we said, okay, well, we're obviously not going to just be a follower. We're going to leverage our unique assets. What do we want to invest our dollars? Do we want to invest in 10 million SKUs overnight, or 3/4 of the sales are stuff that comes out of a supercenter?
Yep.
And the next 500,000. If we put the 500,000 SKUs in 7 warehouses, and it's super efficient, they all come in one box, which cuts down your shipping costs, and we can get those overnight, and take all those dollars that we would invest in that last, even at 10 million SKUs overnight for Amazon, that probably gets them from 70% of sales to, 85%. So they get 15% more sales overnight. Do we do that and match that, or do we take those dollars, which is very expensive, and subsidize a same-day membership to drive those fresh sales and that hook? And so it's a little bit different of a strategy, but I think it's a very, very compelling one.
I guess I wonder, the longer it takes to crack, well, let me ask you this. Are you, with that membership, do you think someone in the US will have a Prime membership and that membership, or you're gonna get people to either drop Prime or they're not?
Yeah, I think to start, it makes sense to go out and get the Walmart same-day membership for your fresh and frozen, even if you have Prime. The hope would be that over time, as you start using the same-day Walmart membership, and you start getting same-day GM out of the supercenter, which is your Lego set and your basic
GM's general
merchandise, yeah, stuff outside of consumables, outside of diapers and shampoo and all that stuff. So I think if they start doing that, and then they realize, okay, we're getting all this stuff same day, now there's another 500,000 SKUs I can get overnight in one box, and it's a really good, tight experience. Now you have people shopping, doing 70% of their shopping with you. Then that's really going to make them question Prime. Why do you need Prime? 70% of my dollars now are here. It's a great experience. I love it. Getting fresh and frozen. And hopefully at that point, we're parity or close to it in that long tail where we have everything else. Prices are the same. Delivery speed may be a little bit slower. But so that's sort of the trade-off.
Around the same time that Amazon announced they were moving Prime delivery from 2 days to, I don't know if they call it 1 day or next day.
Yeah.
Walmart had a similar announcement around the same time. No membership fee.
Right.
Coincidence? What happened there?
We've been working on it for a long time. We've been working on it really since I got here 3 years ago. So, yeah, it's probably just a coincidence, or they heard we were working on something and wanted to preempt it. Who knows? But we've been working on it for a long time. This had always been the vision: is to get all the best-selling general merchandise SKUs replicated so that we can get. Now we're 75% of the country. It'll be 80, 85, 90. We'll be more than 90% overnight on the top 500,000 SKUs.
You said something earlier about, if we get to this point, we can essentially match them on the long tail where you make a lot of your profit.
Yeah.
But you're not actually talking about matching them with how many, amount of SKUs, amount of different products, right? Because that's a long way to go.
All the SKUs that matter, and primarily it'll be, we'll be doing it more with Marketplace. They have obviously more first-party SKUs, but in terms of having them available, that's the goal. Yeah, we're working on now and testing Fulfilled by Walmart, fulfillment services, and that should give us access to a lot more SKUs going forward as well.
One of the pieces of your strategy that got a lot of attention in your first maybe year at the company was idea of acquiring companies, M&A.
Yep.
And I think they fit into two different buckets. You acquired some companies mainly because of their relationships in a certain product vertical, and
this is shoes.com, Hayneedle, art.com.
Right, to add product categories quickly to walmart.com.
Yep.
Another slice of that was acquiring companies like ModCloth, Bonobos, and Eloquii most recently, which were digital native brands. And I think at some point, either to me or publicly, you may have said, we might do one of those a month or something like that. And now it's been...
One a quarter, yeah.
One a quarter. Yeah. Now it's been 3 years and there's 3 of those. And I think that's on hold for now, as far as I can tell, and what I could learn recently. What either went wrong there, or what did you learn that you didn't know when you were talking about rapid pace of M&A?
Sure. On the specialty retailer side, again, as you said, that was really to try and build out the assortment faster. We just recently, the last one we did was art.com. Millions of art SKUs. There's no way we're going to organically get there. And there's some categories that are definitely interesting. We just haven't found any retailers that kind of fit that model right now. We did the big categories in home and shoes and outdoor and stuff, and it's just, they're more niche now, and there's usually typically 1, maybe 2 in the space, and if it's not the right time to buy them, we're not looking to pay to buy EBITDA or income. We just want the assets, we want the products, and so the best time is when the businesses are sort of, kind of flattish, and you get it at a good value. We bought all 5 of those specialty retailers for a combined $300 million for those 5.
This is the Hayneedle, shoes.com.
Bare Necessities, art.com, and Moosejaw.
And then on the digital brand side?
So that's that piece of it, and so we're still looking, we just haven't found it. On the digitally native vertical brand side, that was really part of our Innovate for the Future, and my view is that as retailers get to parity, we're already parity on price, but as we get to parity on both speed and assortment, the game's going to shift to original proprietary content. I have products that are amazing that are only available here.
Right.
And retailers have, had private label businesses before, but it wasn't necessarily about driving, traffic per se. Some retailers have done a decent job of that, but I think it's really going to shift. This idea retailers going out and buying brands like Lego or something like that was really differentiated. That's my view of where I think the puck's going if you fast forward 2 decades from now.
But then why step off the gas?
No, so digitally native vertical brands resonate with millennial shoppers. They're cool. The idea, we went out and bought a few of those, and this is again as a long-term strategy. We're going to build a portfolio. At the same time, we also started to incubate digitally native vertical brands, and we incubated one called Allswell, which is a mattress brand, and it was done at a price point that allowed us to put it on Walmart.com in Walmart stores, and that's going to be a multi-$100-million brand. We started from scratch with a little capital, and we were like, aha, it was like an aha for us. It was like, this is super interesting. We could actually create these ourselves and build them in such a way that they go across stores as well. And so our focus is now shifting. We're incubating a bunch of these brands. And although we're still looking for acquisition, because this is so much more interesting, we're investing, we got like 3 incubated brands that we're investing pretty aggressively in. I think I want to see what happens with those. If those hit in the same way, well, then we found a vein, and we're going to we'll go with that.
So I think what you're saying is, well, let me back up. When you bought those 3 brands, specifically ModCloth, Bonobos, Eloquii, on the Bonobos acquisition, I said, oh, this is interesting, but I can't imagine ever selling Bonobos in a Walmart store. So like, where's the leverage there? Like, it's differentiated, but you're not getting distribution. And that you've had some acquisition interest, but I've been told you are holding on to Bonobos.
Yeah,
is that
holding on
okay?
To it, yeah.
ModCloth, I thought maybe you could find ways to distribute that through Walmart, but I don't know if you've confirmed, but you're in the process. You have been talking to buyers about selling that business.
We are, yep.
And then Eloquii, the most recent plus-sized women's clothing, again, felt like maybe something you could. Maybe there is some distribution with the Walmart network.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an opportunity.
And it sounds like with the incubated brands, you're saying if you're building a brand internally, we want to be able to sell it in Walmart or Walmart.com. So 2 questions. Sorry, long way to get there. One is, how does Bonobos still fit in? And then secondly, was it not obvious from the start that if we're buying brands, they should be things that differentiate Walmart.com or Walmart stores?
Well, the big difference between Walmart.com and the stores, I think Bonobos and brands like that if we had a critical mass and a portfolio of these brands, that we can use that portfolio to help elevate Walmart.com and really bring that assortment. That was sort of one of the goals of that strategy. But it's really short-term versus long-term. I think building brands that can cut across stores and .com will pay dividends in the short term, like as we're seeing with Allswell. So it's a little bit of short term and long term. I haven't moved away from this idea that we would have a more premium portfolio of stuff that is super interesting to shoppers in the future, but we're just kind of focused on this area now, just given you.
So where does that, focused on this area, where does that leave a Bonobos, for example?
Well, that's still the flagship brand, so we're happy to have it. Andy obviously came with it and is driving the overall strategy.
Yep.
So there'll be a time when it makes sense to sort of pick up back in that direction and look harder at acquisitions. We're still looking at acquisitions. We're just, given the amount of money we're investing in these incubated brands now, it's not as palatable to go out and buy something today. But we could launch 3 new incubated brands and they could all flop, and we can sort of say we got to go back to looking at stuff internal. But we'd had such success with Allswell, it just made us rethink how we're going after this.
Couple more. We have 5 minutes on this, and then I hope there's some audience questions. I know I'm going to call on journalists in the room if there are no questions. So you've been at the company 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. You have a 5-year commitment at a minimum. I think when we first talked, when the deal was announced, you said 5 to 10 years. And then last time I interviewed you on stage a couple of years ago, you said, I'll be there 5 years. And then I'm reporting this article recently and talking to people who
How long did you think I was going to be there?
I thought 2 to 3 years. So we're at what, 3 years now?
Yeah.
And I was talking to some people who know you well recently, and they said, I know what Mark has said. I'd be shocked if he's there the full 5 years. So,
Is that a question?
no, but my eyes are the question.
I'll be
Will
there
you-
5 years.
You'll be
At
there
least,
5
yeah. I committed to the board and Doug. I said I would be there 5 years. I'll be there 5 years.
Is it just that you committed, or you think there's actually, like,
No, I mean, there's a lot, I mean, yeah, it's tremendous opportunity. I'm learning a ton. I think we're making great progress. So yeah, who knows what'll happen
what,
after 5 years, I mean.
what has been the, 3 years in, what has been the hardest adjustment for you as a leader?
Hardest adjustment. I think, it's probably no surprise, but I think just the amount of people you need to get aligned on before making a decision. So in a startup, you get a few people in a room together, make a decision, and you go. There's a lot of stakeholders in a big company that need to be worked through, and it just takes longer. So that was certainly an adjustment. Not a surprise, though. I mean, I have dealt with that before.
I get the sense that's not one of your favorite things to do.
It's not.
So have you, I mean, is it just, you have to
do
learned
it.
Yeah.
You learn how to navigate it and stuff. But they're good lessons to learn, because I don't think Walmart is any different than any other large corporation. And so learning those skills, I think, is valuable. And it's certainly things that could be applied to a startup. I see lots of opportunities and things. You know, being and having this experience, you know, certainly make me a better entrepreneur, I think.
2 more questions I'm going to squeeze in. One is a lot of antitrust and other scrutiny around Amazon today, former employer of yours. Happy years there. And there's a lot of discussion over sort of sellers and brands over there feeling locked in. There's not another option. Pricing policies that Amazon has. What do you think of all the attention around the company right now? And do you think that things need to change in the way that Amazon does business as it relates to its marketplace and dealing with sellers?
I wrote some notes here. Let me just look. This one.
It's blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we've said this, that we are Walmart, and I am pro marketplace. We think it's good for customers. I think, as it relates to Amazon specifically, I think it's probably best, you know, to talk to some of their sellers or government. I mean, I'm not at liberty to say or have any opinion about it, them specifically. But we are pro marketplace.
But you're in a very unique position, because you not only, you know, had competed against them at diapers.com, had them slash prices, put you in a position where you sold to them, went and worked there, launched jet.com, competed against them, running Walmart e-commerce. So you're in a very unique position, actually, to have an opinion on that.
I do have an opinion. I'm not going to share my personal opinion, but I do.
Okay. Catch Mark for a drink afterwards. The last thing, a big topic around Walmart recently has been changes to gun and ammunition sales. What feedback have you been getting from customers on the e-commerce side of the business?
Yeah, I think overall, we've been pretty happy with the response we're getting. I think Doug and the EC put a lot of time into this decision. We've dealt with some, you know, horrific events in our stores, and it really, you know, focused us on wanting to do more. And I think the decision that we made to stop selling handgun ammo, assault rifle ammo, we stopped selling handguns in Alaska, which is the only state that we sold them. We hadn't sold handguns in mainland for a long time. I think there were some pretty bold decisions, and I think, you know, overall, people, I think, really appreciated the move. I think.
Have you seen all the hashtags on Twitter? No.
I've seen the hashtag.
Okay.
But
no, I mean, they're strong.
Yeah.
This is a.
But that's social media for you. You know, a small minority can create a big groundswell. I mean, business is good. I mean, we're not seeing the impact of that. I think, think it was the right decision. It was the right thing to do. I feel really proud, of the decision we made. And
now, look at you, getting credit for another decision. Come on, crazy. Do we have any? We have questions. Please tell us who you are, and thank you.
Sure. Hi, Mark. Pam Dillon. Question for you on smart software development, particularly personalization and recommendation systems in the context of the ever-increasing number of SKUs, namely in the tail.
Sure. I think personalization is one area I think the whole industry is sort of behind on. It's amazing that we're kind of where we are in 2019 regarding personalization. I think with the advancements in machine learning, though, and voice recognition, I think text-based, voice-based shopping will require one best answer, or at least a few best answers, which will really put a lot of pressure on needing to be a lot better at personalization. I think it really took something like that to make a change. Otherwise, there's just so many things to do that always seems to not get as much time and energy as other stuff. But I think it's going to change now. I think conversational commerce will sort of force it. If you're using voice to shop, you need to get, really good recommendations. You can't get 10,000 results and read through them. So
I feel like we've been talking about this for, I don't know, I've been covering e-commerce for 6 years, definitely as long as that. Mm-hmm. But you think now's I think we're getting to an inflection point. I still think it's going to take 10 plus years before conversational commerce is really a thing. But it wouldn't surprise me in the year 2030 if the majority of shopping is done via text and voice. But in order to do that, obviously you need to have an incredible personalization engine, right? So. One over here.
Yeah, Steve Vodoris with Turn 5. A couple weeks ago, there was a Wall Street Journal article about a competitor of yours and their marketplace. They went through a few thousand products and found thousands of products that didn't have FDA regulations, missing UL listings or inaccurate, as well as choking hazard things that were missing on toys. You run a large marketplace. Curious to get your take on, I feel like marketplaces they create a lot of opportunity for small business for sure. But whose job is it at the end of the day? Large companies are profiting from these marketplaces. Whose job is it to ensure that the products are safe on your marketplace or somebody else's? Yeah, that's a great question. We have a pretty high bar. Over the last, I'd say, 18 months, we really haven't added any new SKUs in terms of we have about 75 million. We've been doing a lot to really tighten up the quality of the SKUs that we sell on the site and the quality of the sellers as well. So we've seen an incredible shift in Net Promoter Score over the last 18 months as we did that. But we have a really high bar. Not just any seller could come on Walmart.com and sell stuff. And we have a very rigorous sort of compliance program. I would say, best around in terms of compliance and safety.
So if the Journal or Recode does a deep dive on Walmart.com instead of Amazon, what do you think we'll find?
I think they'll find stuff, but I think on a percentage basis, I guess it would be less because we do really have pretty strict standards for getting on the marketplace.
Does an investigation like that, push you guys a little harder to, we got to make sure we're...
It definitely was a good gut check to see are we doing everything we can. You can always do more, but I mean, we have a pretty robust ethics and compliance program at Walmart, and it's just, given its rich history, it's been through a lot of things, and I think a lot of money has been invested there. So I feel pretty good about it.
Okay, thank you.
Hi there, Tanya Salavan. You mentioned conversational commerce earlier. I'm curious about how and what your intentions with Jet Black are, because I see a lot of complements between Jet.com and obviously Walmart e-commerce. But Jet Black is a very unique value proposition to a very focused group of an audience. Is that an experiment for you, or is that something that you're really exploring because you see that being the wave of the future?
I do think it's the wave of the future. The reason why we started in New York City, we really wanted to get a really broad set of items that people purchase via text. So start sort of with the people that have the most disposable income to really see what the full assortment could really be like. It's also operationally, it's a good place to start because the logistics are a lot cheaper because it's denser. So that wasn't really what we're testing and building. We're really building the machine learning capabilities to interpret what you text and be able to give you great recommendations. The fact that we get it to you same day, that's somewhat commoditized now in this day. But it's really the machine learning and the ease and convenience. And we've seen.
So is it experiment still, or how would you, are we going to definitely see it in other places, or is that not decided yet?
No, you're definitely going to see this conversational commerce go more broadly. The question is when.
At Walmart, or?
Yeah, at Walmart. And the question is when. It's going to, the more conversations you see, the more you could use machine learning to automate. And so it's just a race to see the conversations.
Yeah, but that, when I was reporting out that last story, one of the sort of internal tensions I heard was around some of the bets you were making, and do they have the potential to really be mass scale bets? And so I still don't quite understand whether Jet Black brand can be something that is a mass brand for
It doesn't have to
Walmart.
be the Jet Black brand. We're building like an infrastructure. It's really about being able to interpret conversations and be able to respond in an automated fashion and nail the recommendation in 1, 2, or 3 best answers. And I think we've learned a ton. It is going to be possible one day to automate this where it's going to know you as well as your closest relative. And the recommendations are going to be spot on.
Scaring
and you're
the
going to be
shit
able
out
to
of
just
me.
text and get whatever you want.
We're going to squeeze in one very quick one right here.
Hi, my name is Andrea Lay from IdeoClick, and my question's around advertising. So you'd mentioned that for fresh and frozen, kind of the way or part of the path to profitability is through advertising. And I was curious about some of the importance of advertising on the Walmart platform for Walmart and some of your plans in the ad space kind of going forward.
Sure. One of the areas that I mentioned before, investments that we're making with the extra contributed profit, one of the areas is advertising. We think there's a big opportunity there. We've got the advertising business is growing faster than GMV right now, and we're trying to do it in a very customer-friendly way, so we're not, you'll notice that we don't sell the number 1, 2 slot in search like some of our competitors do. We're being very smart, about not going too far. So it's that delicate balance, but we're definitely investing, and we definitely see
You're talking
an
about
opportunity.
one competitor, right? Yes, okay,
Yeah,
keep going.
there's one.
Okay,
And so, yeah, we see an opportunity to grow that business.
no specifics?
How we're going to grow it?
Yeah,
No, it's just being smarter about ad placements. We're building out the sales force to be able to reach long tail advertisers. We've been really focused on just the big folks, but there's a really long tail of people that we want to build an automated solution so they can do ads without having to talk to someone. So.
okay. I think we're way over, and
Okay.
I think you have a flight to catch.
I do.
So
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.